Okay, we are going to take a look at the Chapter 6 Trace Record Review assignment, and we'll see how far we get in this video. Okay, so number one, we're going to deal with a for loop here, and so x is set to be 0. We go to the test, 0 is less than 5, so we jump into the loop. It's important to understand the loop goes from here to here. This is what's going to be repeated, is going to be all along here as many times as necessary. But then also we're dealing with an if-else structure. So remember, with an if-else structure you only do one of the alternatives. So we only do the if part or we do the else part, and that's it each time we go through the loop. So 0 is less than 5, so we jump into the loop and we do the if-else structure. So 0 is greater than or equal to 3 is false, so we're not going to do the if part. And so we go to else. Y is equal to y plus x, which is 5, and so y stays at 5. We print out 5 computers, because that's what y is. And then we get jump out of the if-else structure, and then this one says end loop and go back to the for loop. And so we go back to the for loop. We go here because you got to increment the variable, and so x goes to 1, and then we go to the test, and 1 is less than 5, so we jump back in the loop. 1 is not greater than or equal to 3, so we don't do the if, we do the else. The else says to add y and x together, and so we get 6. And we print 6 computers. And then we're end of the loop, and so we go back to 4. And we do the increment, so x is equal to 2. 2 is still less than 5, so we jump into the loop, and 2 is not greater than or equal to 3, so we continue to do, we skip the if, go to else. So y is being added to x again, so we have 8. And then we go down to the next line and we print 8 computers. Now we're done with the if-else structure. This is where we're done, and now we're at the end of the loop, so we go back to the for loop and we increment to 3, and it's true in here, so we jump back into the loop. 3 is greater than or equal to 3, so now at this point we can actually do the if part. So we are going to do the if and not the else this time through, because you only do one or the other. And so since this is true, we do it, and y is equal to y times x. So y times x is 24, which is assigned to y, so y is 24. And then it says to print out 24 pencils then. And then we're done with the if, so we're done. We skip the else, so we're at the end of the loop. We go back to the for loop, and we're going to increase to 4, or increment to 4. 4 is still less than 5, so we jump into the loop, and x is greater than, or 4 is greater than or equal to 3, so we do the if part, not the else. And so we multiply these two together. So we're printing 96 pencils, because 4 times 24 is 96. So we're done with the if, we skip the else, end of loop, go back, and now we increment and it becomes 5. Now 5 is what makes this test false. That's what stops the loop, so all of the for loop is done. and we kick out and go to see if there's anything beyond the loop, which there is, and we're printing x. So we got to print x right now is 5. And there we go. That's number 1. Let's do number 2. Number 2, x is 5, y is 12. So we go to the if structure. Now, the important thing to understand is this is not a while statement. So we're never going to come back to if. And this is what people want to do when they're done here, is they want to go back. They want to go back to if, but we will never do that because this is not a loop. It's just an if-else structure. So that's the important thing to remember, and that might clear up some of your issues right now if you're having issues. So x greater than y, well, 5 is not greater than 12, and so we are not going to do the if part, we're going to do the else part. And so while, now we jump into the else. Now in the else is a while loop. So we're going to keep doing this loop until it says to stop. Okay, we just keep going until it says to stop. And then when we're done, we're actually done with else because that's all that's in the else section. And so x is less than y. And so we're going to jump into the loop and we're going to decrement y. And then we're going to print puppy. And then the next line down says to add 2 to x and then assign it to x. So 5 plus 2 is 7, which gets assigned to 7. Okay, we're done with the loop, so we go back to while, because that's what that loop is, ends the loop. So 7 is still less than 11. We decrement the y, so that becomes 10. And then we print puppy again. And then we add 2 to x and assign it to x. And so that means 7 plus 2 is 9. And so we're done with this. So we're right here. And so we go back to while because we're done with the loop. And 9 is still less than 10. And so we decrement y. And we get 9. And then we print puppy right here. And then we go here and add 2 to x and get 11. And then we're done with this while loop right here. And so we go back to while. And 9 or 11 is not less than 9. So we kick out of the loop, which means we're done with the else section. So we're done with the if-else structure. So now we're going to go to the next line down, which says time to eat. Alright, so that's how number 2 goes.